Alright. We're going to go purify that water. That's what I was up to. It's... Oh, do I have the... Yeah, I have the 3 purification capsules. Alright, that's gonna make this easy. And I've got my car, which we need. Ooh, do we wanna... Yeah. Let's go find the materials that we need to make a teleporter. I don't think I'm gonna leave one down there, but being able to just slap a teleporter down on a platform is going to make my life much easier. Yeah, it's windy and freezing over here. Yeah, for us, it was supposed to be like really windy today, like 50 mile an hour gusts or something like that. And that actually kind of slowed down. What we've got instead is just a lot of snow. And I mean, the snow is coming at a nice horizontal tilt, but it's not like the super windy ice storm that I was expecting to come out of today, which I'm glad for. I don't know. We went on a walk to go pick up pizza for New Year's, and it was a cold walk for the first part, and then the snow really kicked in, and then it was actually really pleasant because snow, I guess, kind of insulates a little bit. And so, yeah, walked back in a snowstorm, and it was absolutely delightful looking. You know what? Actually, here, I'm just going to, total non sequitur. I'm going to post a picture of the deer that we passed by on Discord if people want to see the deer. I'm just going to drop it in chat for anybody that is specifically not watching this stream. This is going to be a total non sequitur, but that's okay. Yeah, so I dropped a deer in general if anybody wants to see what it looked like for us outside. I always love going on walks near my apartment complex because we've got this like really nice trail system that's nearby. It doesn't go too far. It doesn't go to like too many places, but it lets us go grocery shopping and it lets us go to some like nice outdoor eating situations, and it's just pleasant. And there's a bunch of deer. Oh, it does lower the water. It's sick. I was wondering how I was going to get access to all of this stuff down here. But yeah, so there's a whole mess of deer and birds and squirrels that kind of live in this overall, like, kind of network of trails and wooded areas. And so, yeah, it's not uncommon for us to, you know, just see a doe and her fawns, or I actually saw a pair of bucks hanging out there, right where I took that photo. And let's see. Yeah, tons of birds. A lot of woodpeckers. Like, there were a bunch of woodpeckers out there today. A big one, a couple small ones, I think. And yeah, awesome amount of snow. Yeah, we had a really brown Christmas. It was, like, super warm for the couple of days prior. And so all of the lovely snow that we had melted. And it was kind of unfortunate because it was like, I don't know, I like having a nice, proper white Christmas. But, you know, snow said no. Or the weather said no, and so I was like, okay, well, that kind of sucked, but immediately the day after, like, Boxing Day in the US is kind of a shopping holiday, and more or less as part of that, it just started showering us with snow, and so we went on a walk for that, and that was lovely. And then we did the same thing today, and it was lovely, and hopefully it's gonna stick around for a little while. We'll see. Northern Sweden here and everything's turned ice. Not fun outside right now. I heard, I was reading a thing about how, Swedes are the, was it Warhammer is most popular in Sweden or something like that? Specifically Age of Sigmar. But I thought that was a very fun thing to hear about. Or is it Norway? It was either Sweden or Norway. Okay, so Norway might be first, but still. I thought that was kind of amusing, and it makes sense. Yeah, if the weather outside is real crummy and icy, what do? I play Warhammer. Okay. Though for me, I guess I'm streaming other things. You had a white Christmas, and Friday after Christmas got snow and ice, but Sunday the rain came and got rid of most of it. Haven't had a white Christmas in several years. Yeah. Climate change will do that to you. I got a little thing out here. And yeah, we're prepping to potentially do like a board game night for New Year's. We've got a local friend who plays board games with us. But there's a very real possibility the weather's going to be so bad that, here, let's just fire these off. Get the water level dropping. The weather's actually going to be so snowy and slick that it's not going to work out. They wouldn't have any data on that. Brothers painted Warhammer figures, not 40k. Yeah, I don't know why, but it's specifically... I don't have the full data, but it was talking about how tournament attendance is, like, way high in Scandinavian countries compared to pretty much anywhere else. Which I thought was fun. I mean, good to have a hobby. That's kind of me recently, is trying to find hobbies and things that I can do. Oh, is there a third layer on this one? Oh no. Is this stopped or did it break? I don't think it's supposed to still be jiggling this much. Let's warp back to the field and see if it's still jiggling. Yeah, I think we hit a bug. Our character lowered the water and became a nervous wreck, I think, is the answer. Oops. Okay, let's save and go back to main menu and try that again. There we go. That's better. I don't want to be running around with permanent earthquake mode going on. It does amuse me that the earthquake mode is actually just localized to my character. So that, yeah, when it bugs out, the earthquake follows me. Okay. Can take these back with me. And just having a personal teleporter on hand is actually really handy. If there's more, I'm not seeing it. And that's okay. I just want to double check. Because there's a decent amount of goodies that I might want to grab. Alright. Remember one time on my bike on the road a few decades ago, I was pedaling along and a mouse went in the road 100 feet in front of me. Yeah, I don't think I generally see mice. We got lots of squirrels. We had shrews, but we never saw them alive. We only ever saw them when they'd been what? You can deconstruct one of these things? What? Huh. Okay. I think it was premature for me to get rid of my teleporter in retrospect. We should... Oh, moose, not mouse. Okay. Yeah, that makes way more sense. Yeah, we don't get moose down here. We get a lot of deer. No moose. The only time we've seen moose was were we on vacation in Canada? It was either Canada or Maine or something, but there was a moose hanging out in the road. And just did not give a shit that there were people there, which is pretty classic moose. It's in Rhode Island. Huh. Do I have this game just turned down too low? I'm gonna bump it up by a smidge. Then maybe take the sound effects down. There we go. Alright, dump everything off. Then I can put the goo out here. Okay. So, I guess should probably just take a drink. Deconstructs a giant structure the size of house. Best I can give you is 3 iron scrap. Yeah. I feel like it could have been more interesting, but I will also admit, we are kind of in a post-scarcity state as far as this game is concerned. Like, I quite literally don't need anything. So, it's kind of one of those where, like, I'm weirdly okay with not getting large quantities of resources. If anything, the most useful thing for me is when I get nothing, because then I don't have to worry about it. Makes me wish there was some way I could, like, stack items in this game, because that would be so good. Wow, air purifier. And a lot of tungsten just hanging out here. But still, let's focus on getting rid of the toxic goo, because then I can move the teleporter down a layer. And then we might actually have to abandon cleaning this area up, at least for a bit. Because there's another layer. It requires 3 purification charges. I do appreciate, actually, how deep this goes. I might actually just leave the teleporter here for the time being. I'm not going to say the resources to make them are a dime a dozen, but it'll make getting back in here easy. Oh, we've gotten to the point where common larvae are starting to show up. That's good. I don't know why they'd show up down there. It's a terrible spot for a bug to be hanging out, to be honest, but hey. Other thing I could do, we don't have enough iron. I could put some lockers down to just grab stuff quick. Wouldn't be the worst idea. Is that all of it? Yeah. Not quite. There we go. So I've got to figure out, can we make the better fuse? Insect multiplier fuse, fuse cartridge. What I was hoping I could make would be a purification fuse. But seemingly that's not a thing that is makeable. Which is a little sad. I'm just going to leave that on robots, probably. Well, do we? Probably not. It's going to be eating resources I might need. I guess let's just go back, clear things out, but I'll have to find 3 more purification fuses from somewhere. Because those have not been the most forthcoming of loot. Now I'll build the locker. There we go. Take that. And just drop these off. Yeah, maybe a blueprint chip. You know, that's a good point. I haven't checked that. Saw them. After the toxic fumes burned my skin, the guards immediately sealed off one of the entrances to the bottom of the mine. I know there were other people still inside. At least 10 were behind me. The guards didn't hesitate for a second to sacrifice them, like squashing a bothersome insect. Heard them scream behind me before everything collapsed. But I've done the same in their place. Sacrificed a few to avoid a worse fate. I haven't slept for days. I hear their screams when I close my eyes. Ouch. I mean... yeah, I don't know how to think about that kind of, like, quandary. You know, keep the doors open, maybe you can save people, but drastically increase your chances of it just wiping out everyone else. Then again, at least in this situation, you know the corporation probably knew this toxic gas was a problem and just didn't do anything about it. Okay, same deal here. A lot of growth multipliers. When I finally have that open air farm, we're going to be able to do some fun things with it. Is it this one? Oh, no, it was out here. It was these. I'll just leave the tungsten on the ground. The thing is, since we're auto-mining tungsten, it just kind of doesn't matter. I was hoping to find a purification fuse here, but it looks like that's a no-go. Okay, dump those off. Same deal. Huh. Okay, so inventory is getting a little full. Let's make another locker. Not the most practical, but that's fine. Okay, so what did I, that I haven't grabbed. And yeah, we should actually find the blueprint microchips and see if any of them give me a recipe. I'd stopped using them because at least on the main planet, it was saying that there was nothing to, nothing else to, like, add. Or like, there were no other bits of technology for me to learn from them. But yeah, I haven't tried it on this planet, so there might actually be a number of things I could pick up and learn. Yeah, I like those for the random resources. I just don't care because we have plenty of those. So is there a container that will only fast transfer all similar items? Let's see. You want to sort of container, having a way to transfer the only things you want would be nice. I mean, mostly it's just using the correct, like, request parameters. We're looking for any other potential goodies or one of those, like, giant locker things again. Sometimes these also have stuff in them. Wait, is this different? No. It is not. Okay, so that's everything. Just take whatever is left and go drop it off at home. So, yeah, there's no ender chest, if that's what you're asking. However, oops, whatever. I'm gonna have this one demand. Can I have it demand chips? No. That's slightly unfortunate, actually. It's fine. They're probably all right here. Because yeah, I just dumped them in the dump chest and then haven't been back to use them for anything. Oh, some of these are like... we can actually see what they give me. Interesting. I like that, actually. Alright. Plant purification, energy. Oh, do we not have the blueprint? We don't have a blueprint sorter. We also should eat my beans. Okay, silicon and iron. I'll put it right here. Yeah, no more blueprints to decode for now. So yeah, these aren't actually giving me anything. We did get the T5 exoskeleton. And then also trade rocket, which is confusing. Okay, circuit, uranium quartz, easy enough. Okay, cosmic quartz. Wow, we have a lot of those. And we want quasar quartz and a uranium rod. I have plenty of. Not actually sure if we need the higher tier exoskeleton. But the extra space might be useful. Okay, next order of business, close these out. We didn't learn anything else that was amazingly useful. We do know how to make the T4 purification. Sure. Okay, how many tungsten rods am I cracking? 4. 10. So we can make 5 of these. That's fine. And then we can get rid of these, which are great, but also large. Are these even bigger? Oh my gosh. I like how it's just mostly scaling up in size more than anything else. Really hoping I could line these up better. Is it because this is in the way? Might be. Yep. No. I want to line it up with a little bit of overlap for reasons unclear. Okay, I guess this one won't let me overlap. There we go. How much are these putting out? A boatload of purification. The fact that this planet has not been conclusively purified at this point is a bit of a surprise. Okay. We can probably go turn an amount of this into tungsten rods. One more? Okay, there we go. I think a small size increase is okay, but I prefer the tech inside is more efficient and less prone to error. Yeah, on a personal level, I think, especially for this game, it would have been nice if, like, the higher tier stuff either looked fancier or, like, stacked in some interesting fashion. Okay. Put this over. This is enough to make a handful more. I mean, no. So this is enough to make 3 more. There we go. These aren't going to get sorted away quickly. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10? See if I can get 10. I don't know how many tungsten rods we're going to be able to output with this. But I might as well make a bunch of them. That actually should be enough. Sick. Because, yeah, when in doubt, just dump everything. Because presumably there's a certain point where we are going to hit maximum purification. And then I'm not going to have to fiddle with this anymore. That we can actually get rid of most of our purification structures. Kind of wish it was one of those, like, Terra Nil. Actually did a video on Terra Nil yesterday. Well, oh, there's iron in the way. One thing I love about Terra Nil as, like, a terraforming game is that once you hit the certain point where you can get the game, like, you get rain to start falling again, the whole game just becomes extremely easy. Because all of the, like, blasted wasteland starts just auto-greening on its own. Just from the rain washing away the filth, question mark. I don't know, something about that was really charming to me. And, like, oddly enough, I don't know how many people actually even have played Terra Nil. I think that might be one of my most, like, one of those, like, top 10 most satisfying things in a video game, which is strange, you know, it's just a small little terraforming sim, but that feel, though, is a good one. Oh, we need a couple more tungsten rods. Or we're out. It's fine. We'll leave it. Okay. Let's grab our bottles of water and figure out what we're doing next. So the problem is I need purification fuses, and I don't think we have enough of them. We have a stupid amount of trade rocket fuses, which is very funny. I just don't know what to do with them necessarily. Production multiplier fuses, which would be good if I wanted to generate a bunch of stuff. Let's see if I can make an outdoor farm. Because, oh shit, yeah, I can just make an ecosystem. Yeah, we can't do animal shelter yet, but that might actually be like one of... Okay, let's go back to my exchange rocket. I want to grab my silkworm supply. I'll grab some common bugs too. Do 9? Get 3 silkworm things, I think. Anything else that I need? Not really. Not really. Okay. So that'll come back with our silkworms, which is helpful. This game looks neat. It's incredibly fun. It's... I don't know if it's, like... If I'm exaggerating with this, but I think Planet Crafter is, like, one of my top games of all time. It's just a nice mix of oddly satisfying factory automation, exploration, and... I guess incremental game design. That makes for an extremely compelling experience. I wish I grabbed that random ass worm. Oh well, it's fine. Once we get an ecosystem, we'll be able to just auto-generate a bunch of things. Let's think. I think we probably want to set up over there. Ooh. Yeah, we can also... I mean, do we want... Hydration is low. I should fix that. I think I'm actually going to make a couple of these auto-collectors and get one for at least each of the insect types, because they're going to be easy to come by. So 9 osmium, 3 bars, bunch of quasar quartz. That'll be easy to pick up. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Everything else is downstairs. Super alloy bar. 1, 2, 3. And then 9 osmium. There we go. Okay, so first step, we're going to head over to... probably Fartlands. Yeah. Alright. Why did I put all of those down? I have no idea. Okay. And actually, just build the first one kind of at a distance, if it'll let me. Select rare larva. Perfect. Then auto supply. Everything. I want to put a production multiplier on this one. Maybe. I don't think we necessarily need to. Okay. Next up, I think we can actually go back to Fart Home. We still have to clean up that whole area, but not in a rush. Morning low power. How dare you? Common larva. I guess I've been powering this entire planet off of these 3 fusion generators this entire time. It's probably a good idea we build some more. Okay. 5, 5, 5, 5. And then fill my inventory with super alloy. That should be enough to build a bunch of these. We're just going to build it out here, do we? Nah. Easy enough to build a lot of these, like, passive production things. Nowhere close to my base. Okay, speaking of, let's actually get rid of some of these, because we for sure do not need them. And they're slightly in my way. I remember when I was worried I'd have trouble getting more of those mushrooms. Turns out, don't need nearly as many of them as I thought I did. Should probably also replace this thing, considering... Yeah. We might actually want to do a quick circuit and replace all of my mines with the T3 versions. When we get the chance. Okay. Go back to the field. Okay, how's purification doing? Really, it's only 66%. That's impressive. The Toxo tree seed. Okay, and I have a hell of a lot of power now. That should be pretty good. Okay, so let's figure out. Oh, we're really close to where I could put one of these down. You know what? Here's what I'm going to do. Let's figure out what we need to make the better mining machines, too. So, how much automation is there? It's not as much as Factorio. You're not going to be messing around with... Wait a second. 1, 2, 3, 4... 5? And then just dump all of the titanium I can into my inventory. There we go. That should be good enough. So, how much automation is there? The answer is it is both a lot, but there is no conveyor belts. So if you want to transport resources, drone swarm is the only way, other than by hand. However, you don't need to move as many resources. It's not like you're constantly feeding large quantities of, you know, red, green, whatever circuits into different production chains. It just doesn't have that. But so, for example, put down this, tell it to, this will automatically harvest all uncommon larvae from the area, and then my drones will routinely come by to grab it. And so that's how it works. Is this a T3? Oh my god, that's why we've never had any iridium. Oh, I'm a dumbass. Alright, whatever. I think this is a T3 too, isn't it? Yeah, it is a T3 extractor. We've just been coasting by on random loot to give us enough iridium to do various projects. Well, at least this one will provide sulfur for us as well, which is actually quite helpful. What other mining machine could I put down in this area? Because we could also request silicon. I think... Was it silicon? I think it was silicon and titanium we were, like, weirdly low on. I'll have it in the supply, at the very least. Yeah. Wander spent hours on Planet 1 finishing the tutorial, so Wander's enjoying the fruits of reaching endgame tutorial tech. Oh, yeah. This is, considerably, further along in the game than you normally would be, question mark. Okay, so that probably means that this is also a T3. So it really was just the sulfur, that we've maybe got on the wrong thing. I guess we also don't have anything on uranium, do we? But we also don't need that many uranium rods. But yeah, this game lets you do what I would say the equivalent of prestiging, which I sometimes enjoy in video games. Effectively, you can reset on a new save, but with extra stuff. In this case, though, it's you can go to the DLC worlds either at the start of the game, or you can go to them after you've functionally beaten the main game. But you get to keep all of your stuff and like whatever you can pack onto the rocket in your backpack, which is extremely fun because you can effectively land on a planet that normally would be a challenge to terraform, and you can just be like, hey, it's goof mode time. Let's terraform this in like 2 seconds. And I don't know, some part of that just feels really good to me. Let's see. Going back to Fartlands? I guess so. Cause yeah, let's see if I can go make a uranium mine. Because we haven't needed it thus far, and I still don't think we need it, but at the very least having that option is probably good for me. Let's see if I can just put it here. There it is. Please tell me I can just pull the uranium. No, we could do obsidian. Because I don't think we have an obsidian mine. We haven't needed it thus far, but it's probably still good to have one of them. And then uranium was down here, which I think is accessible. Yeah, because there's no goop here for me to have to clean up. There we go. Alright, so next order of business is probably getting the required resources to build another teleporter, putting something over here, or cleaning up the area around the super alloy. I think I might just do that. Now that we've got what is probably one of the better toxin masks. Let's see. A number of these crates around. Boy, we got a lot of them. Unfortunately, my inventory is getting frustratingly full. I guess we'll just eat beans. Yeah, we don't. I was like, ooh, bug, and it's like, wait, no, we don't need it. Now, I'm in the wrong spot. You know what? I can come back to this. I'll find it a bit. We're going to be clearing this area out anyway. What I might want to do is put a platform down in a couple lockers, though. I don't know how much iron we have. Need one. Oh, that's silicon. Here we go. Because at the very least, it'd be nice to be able to start offloading this stuff without having to manually drop it off. Okay. I guess we could do the same thing with a car. Oh, wrong side. This is set to supply now. We just want to have a couple of dump chests. So I don't have to come back. Because, yeah, I think we clean this up. I've been putting this off for a while. Problem is, there's like 296 toxin just piled into this area. This is going to take a while. I guess not that long. We're in kind of a good spot for zooming through this. Could you set yourself up as a supplier like Drones and Factorio? Surprisingly, no. I think that's actually one of my biggest disappointments in this game, is that you can't have, like, you yourself cannot be a requester chest. Because, yeah, if I could just have it that a drone routinely brings me a bottle of water and a can of beans, that would be amazing. I would seriously solve a lot of the adventuring aspect of it. But yeah. Like, the problem is it would break some of the balance of the game, because then you could just also have it give you oxygen. However, I kind of feel like maybe at this point, yeah, you should have tech that lets you do that. I think this game's done a good job of having that kind of, like, technological scalability that makes some games either really fun or not. Like, I feel like there's kind of this weird division on games. Let's go get some oxygen while we're here. It's kind of a division on games where some games do a really good job of making you feel like you are constantly progressing, and a lot of other games that really don't. Let's see, what's a good example of this? I'd say Astroneer is kind of an interesting example here. You do get better stuff as you go through the game, but really the only thing that really that makes you feel like you've progressed is that once you get up to the infinite energy generators. Like, that actually feels good and gives you a feeling of progression, but like, you don't get a bigger backpack, you don't run faster. You do get some, like, fun tech, like trains and vehicles and whatnot. And maybe that's it, that your vehicle progression is, like, the real source of progression in the game, but it still felt like there could have been more interesting things. There could have been more interesting things that they could have given me as a player over the course of the gameplay. I think this is true of just like a lot of survival sandbox, or just games in general. I've been playing a big, what was it called? Well, it's an action-adventure game. It's called Eternal Strands. It came out at the beginning of this year. It's not quite 2026. I can't say last year yet. But it was like early 2025, and is like a legitimately really good game that I've been having a lot of fun with. The problem I'm having with it is that the entire gear and equipment system, it's got this like really interesting crafting system where, you know, in like games you like kill a monster and it's like, oh, you found like a Drake scale, or like here's unobtainium ore, and you can like make a sword out of that. This one actually lets you hot swap materials out of your weapons, and so it's like, oh cool, I found like a newer rarer metal, I'm gonna slap it in, and it gives me like a stat bonus. The problem is the uniqueness of that wears off really fast because literally everything is just a stat stick, so it's just like micromanaging how much damage, armor, or like elemental resistances you have, which I will tell you now, much as I enjoy the game and I'm having a good time with it, that is the worst way of handling character progression, because it's like, oh cool, I found this new rare metal, it increases my damage by 1, and I already do like 100 damage, so like that extra like 1 to 5 damage I get from that new metal is not, they don't have special cool effects. No, that's the problem. I was like actually kind of, I've been growing increasingly frustrated with it, because it's like, you know, how cool would it be if you slapped the Drake scale in and all of a sudden your character has like a fire aura. And if you stack like 5 dragon scales across your pieces of equipment, your fire aura is bigger, more dangerous, stuff like that. Like that would have been the thing that would have really elevated the gameplay to being like extremely cool. And so what this has done is slowly pushed me away from even doing melee combat, because the enemies have gotten harder, like legitimately stronger, more damaging, and not easy to beat. And it's been pushing me more and more towards the magic system, because you can effectively light something on fire and watch it explode from 50 feet away where you're completely safe. And so it's like, why do I even hit things anymore? You know, I'll do it if it's convenient, but it really does seem like just lighting things on fire with the power of my mind is the vastly superior option, which is fun, but I cannot help but feel like this lack of potential here, and this like gaping hole where a really cool piece of game design could be. That's such a good potential idea. And you know what? If anybody's listening to this and you're making a game and you want to steal that idea, be my guest. I'm never going to implement it because I am a busy dude and also not a game designer. But it's one of those where, like, if you're going to have these, like, really intense crafting systems, having everything just be a stat stick is boring, because ultimately that just means that your gameplay is the same forever. And this is, like, a serious problem, I'd say, with old-school JRPGs, that, you know, oh, you've gotten to a new town, city, chapter, arc, whatever. You know, go into the weapons store. Here's a steel broadsword. It's a linear upgrade to your iron broadsword. Okay. End of the game. You found the Armageddon blade. It's an upgrade to your obsidian blade. But it does the same thing as every other sword that you've had up until this point. None of them make a difference. And it's like, some part of me is really tired of that, from like a game design perspective. Number get bigger, yeah, number get bigger as like a progression system only works when the player feels that number increase. And even then, after a certain point, the luster of it is still gone. Because it's just like, if you only do number get bigger forever, then the only way for enemies to get more interesting is for them to also number get bigger. Yeah, it has no flavor. Exactly. I would much rather have a game that has like a weird, wonky gear and equipment system, where you're never really sure what is the correct best thing because there's too many options. And it's kind of silly with it. And a lot of games surprisingly don't give you that it's all just number get bigger stuff, and kind of the blandest way. And I get it, like making a really interesting gear and equipment system is legitimately challenging, one of the harder things you can design. Especially if you're trying to go for like a more balanced experience. You know, I guess one of the games that, well, the game I'm going to be playing later today, after my friends become available in like hour and a half, give or take. Fellowship is a MMO dungeon crawler raider, but without the MMO part. And almost universally, every single item is just a stat stick upgrade of, you just get a higher tier item. It's got better stats than the last one. Does the same thing though. Kind of boring. However, they have legendary weapons that have like legendary items that have like unique ability or passive effects that really switch things up a little bit. And then also your weapons have like their own sub-talent tree. And so it's one of those where like that feels really good because then, yeah, you're still doing the stat stick stuff. You don't have to have everything be interesting and textured. But you have just enough of these like little micro choices where players actually feel like they're doing something. Especially because the, oh no, we should go back. We're running out of oxygen and water. Let's see. What was I going to say? I don't know. I just think that's a good way of handling it. You can have the stat sticks, but you can still have more interesting things going on with your character build. I'd love it if they went harder with it. Really make it so that every endgame piece of armor and equipment changed an ability in some interesting way. Or like how a stat works or something. But also recognize that that is time consuming. That is effort. Okay, do we want to actually take the car out at this point? I think so. These are starting to get kind of far away from me. And the speed is nice. Oh, we've actually cleaned this up really fast. I think Grime does that. I'll have to play Grime again. I know they did a bunch of updates after I'd stopped playing. But I never finished the base game because I found it slightly frustrating. So it feels like it would work with roguelikes, weapons, and Dead Cells and stuff. Yeah. I will admit I actually found Dead Cells gear and itemization system. Well, I guess an easy example of this is Dead Cells stat progression system. I always found that to be kind of a letdown. Because it was just like, oh, you found a stat scroll. Do you want to increase your fortitude? Your might? Or your magic? I forget. It's been a little while since I've played. But all of them were just like linear stat upgrades. And with diminishing returns too. Which just felt terrible. I would much rather have games like, oh, what's a good example of this? I don't know. Everything is Crab is a game I played a little while ago. It's a lot of stat stick progression, but in a way that feels interesting because you're stacking so many different things together and they all combo together in an exceedingly fun way. The weapons are basically the same every time. If you could slot things in, that would add so much more variety. Yeah, that was where I kind of bounced on Dead Cells after a while. It was like, it had a really good combat system, but so much of the depth was absent in a way that I found frustrating. Not to say that, like, Binding of Isaac always does it right, but it's one of those where Binding of Isaac did a really good job of having an interesting upgrade system, because, every single time you find, like, one of those big upgrades, like, I don't know, Brimstone, all of a sudden the whole game is wildly different and exciting again. Especially if you then, combine it with homing or something. Because then now you've got a homing giant super beam, and that feels extremely good. I guess I can actually pack stuff into the trunk of this thing. Now that I'm thinking about it, I was like, should I go back at this point? And the answer is no. Now we grab everything that we're here while we're here, especially while I've got inventory space for it. It's good moveset stuff with Liza P, but also use one of these three weapons or be bad meta. Ooh, did they fix that with the update? I heard some people complaining about that, but that the full, not the full release, the like big patch that they did over the summer might have fixed some of that stuff. I would also say Souls-likes maybe are a little bit of an exception because their combat system is so good-ish. I don't know. I still yearn for the day where we get a like full single-player Souls-like, but with the build crafting of like Path of Exile. It's unlikely that that is going to happen anytime soon because designing that would be one hell of a nightmare, but it would feel good. Like I really liked the build variety in the Surge back when I played it, because I actually thought that was a kind of brilliant Souls-like. Here's another mess of it. I thought it was a brilliant Souls-like with a lot of really good ideas, but it was really satisfying going for a build that had, I think it was like really high armor and self-heal, and that felt super satisfying putting all that together, even if it took a lot of grinding. Shame the Surge is very unstable now. Oh, is it? I was having problems with it on my PC, and I thought it was maybe just an exception. So I had ended up rebuying it on PlayStation so I could play it without having to worry about, you know, bugs or glitches or anything like that. Or as many, question mark. And then I just haven't been back because I don't actually play a whole lot of Souls-likes for fun. They're just frustrating enough that I kind of peace out on them. Deep Rock Galactic is a mainstay because of the build variety it gives. I have not gotten far enough in it to really unlock the super cool build crafting, and I've always felt bad about that. But I'm really hoping the new, was it Rogue Core? Whatever the new Deep Rock Galactic they're doing that's more roguelike-y. I'm really hoping that's good. Because I always have felt the Deep Rock Galactic would have benefited from having small little roguelike perks. And if that's all they do, you know, if it's Deep Rock Galactic, but hey, you get rogue perks over the course of the run, I'd be so happy. Did I not set this to supply? I'm a fool. Okay, let's just leave that for a second, dump everything else off. Well, I guess we can actually clear the trunk out while we wait. Because this thing is also a supplier chest. That should be good enough. The drones will just come find me when they find me. So we're looking for... There's 40 left somewhere. A little less than 40. 37? Just gonna wait until the little rad meter is like, hey, you're within range of some goop. Well, here's some. Not much, though. It's probably on top of these hills. That was a purifier cell. Yes! And, like, realistically, we could actually use the ones that I put into my machine. That was a gold chest. Please have purifier cell. It does not. I was like, that's a funky looking orange box over there. Oh, it's a gold chest. Do not see enough of those. So the one problem I do have with driving the car around here, very minor. This is going to be a little tricky to spot. Maybe I'll put on a hill. Tired of the pick between 3 upgrade system that's cropped up ever since Vampire Survivors exploded. See, I like the pick 3 system. I think the main problem is so many games don't have an interesting set of 3 options. I was talking about this recently-ish. Hold up. There's something here. Is it? Oh, here's a bunch. There's a bullet heaven I played recently called, I think it's like Last Mage or something like that. I'll be doing some videos on it. But it does a pick 3 thing that I really liked, which was, here's 3 abilities that you want to choose between. However, once you've picked one of them, then you get 3 more options for what you do with that ability. I felt like that was good. Here's a list from a massive pool upgrade system does not work when you only get slightly bigger numbers. I think that's where it falls apart and so many of these systems just utterly fail. Because so many of them don't fundamentally understand how to make a good upgrade system. In such a way that it's like worth it for players. I'm trying to remember what roguelike it was. I mean, this is such a frequent thing. Where I'm playing a roguelike and it's like, hey, here are your options. Half a percentage point of for critical hit. 1 damage when you already do 80. And it's just like, why would I ever pick any of these? This is such like a wet fart of an upgrade system. And like whenever a game does that, I just shut it off and I'm bored and I move on. It feels good when you do 1 damage and you get a +2 damage upgrade, because now you've just tripled your damage and that feels great. The enemies that took 3 hits to kill earlier now take 1, and that's good. That's the stuff. But so many games kind of don't understand that as like a fundamental, like the fundamentals of that upgrade system and how to make it feel satisfying. And so they either give you a lot of extremely minor upgrades that don't feel good, or they just give you a very small number of minor upgrades that don't feel good at all. Let's see, we don't need the uranium. It does amuse me that we've got these, like, just radioactive barrels, and I'm like, nah, I don't need that. Just leave it there. Supposed to be cleaning up the planet, but they don't count as a mess, so I don't have to worry about them. Really do wish there was like a ping that I could do after a certain point to find some of the goop. But I really want someday for one of these, like, well, I guess I've seen a couple of games do this. I want a game that tries to mirror the, like, Morrowind spellcrafting system. I've seen some games kind of get there. Hey, we don't need any recipes. Get that out of here. Let's grab these, because I can get another locker down. And let's make sure we're actually supplying this time, as opposed to just leaving it there. Grab what I can. Just as the drones arrive to pick it all up. There we go. Did we not actually drink our water? Oops. Okay, so this area is almost done. And it's like the biggest patch. We just have to drive around it if we find something that's like, hey, by the way, you're near some goop. We'll get closer to it. Morrowind, the game that lets you apply super long low damage burn and just as long paralysis. Yep. My favorite thing is more or less just a mage character. I had a spell that was so big that it could hit most of a cave system if I casted it as soon as I entered the cave. And so I would cast it and just hear, like, in the distance somebody shouting. And then I would cast it again a couple of times. Okay, there we go. I would just cast it again a couple of times, kill the whole cave worth of people, and then go through it and clean it all out. Was it extremely tacky? Yes. Was it fun? Also yes. And I kind of understand why they, oh, there it is. I understand fully why Bethesda hasn't continued with that spellcrafting system, but I wish some games would. I was playing something recently called The Bloodline that very much was trying to evoke Morrowind in its totality as, like, game design and whatnot, and it felt great. It actually was pretty close to... Is that everything? I think so. Yeah, look at that go. That feels good, watching all of the corruptive effect kind of receding. Oh, there's a whole, like, little base over there. We should go check that out. There's not really much there, but still. Someday I'll play Morrowind again. I've just been... I don't know. Not a fan of Microsoft right now. Let's see. Well, there's something in here. I don't think it's much. Just a couple of solar panels and this. This is nice. And yeah, I could recycle these for a bunch of, like, random resources, but we don't need it. Mostly the weird rare stuff that I want to pick up. Whoa. Even Bill isn't a fan of Microsoft right now. Really? I haven't heard anything about Bill Gates and his opinions. Because I know he kind of washed his hands of the company to somewhat softly retire and also do some amount of charity stuff. And then, am I wrong? Or did he also get divorced? Because I thought it was both him and Bezos that got divorced in a kind of short time period. I don't pay attention to rich people that much, apart from, you know, hating them and sharpening my forks. Let's see. Do you want to just... Yeah, let's just warp home real quick. A lot of this stuff isn't going to be collected, and so I should probably do so. Let's just make sure all the toxic goo is put away. Did I ever set these to supply? I don't think I did. We should. Unlikely we're going to process any of these. Oh, let's just recycle every single one of them that has some, that doesn't have anything in it. Because I might as well set them up near the next base. Okay. How are we looking? Yeah, I guess I'm just going to drop off a bunch of things at the base. We'll grab some more stuff. Grab the resources required for a teleporter, probably. Okay, is that enough? No, we have one too many. There we go. And then teleporter, which I always forget what I need. The problem is it's like a bunch. I really wish you could actually have like build these things beforehand and then just deploy them. So I could have just an auto crafter giving me a supply. That would be nice. Oh well. Apparently Bill Gates was called in as a panic option and he called the administration stupid. I mean, yeah. I would actually say pretty much every tech company is run by morons at this point. Morons that know how to squeeze a lot of wealth out of things, but they also know how to squeeze the wealth out of the company to the point where there's not much left of the company. I mean, Ubisoft is probably a good example of this. Even like X number of years ago when it was already popular to hate on Ubisoft. Yeah, let's go put the other teleporter over here, kind of in between. What the heck? All right, that was weird. But like even years ago when like Assassin's Creed Unity was coming out and whatnot, where it was popular to hate on Ubisoft, but like they still put out some good games. I can't tell you what Ubisoft has made in the last couple of years that's been good. Like, I know there's been a recent Assassin's Creed game, but the last one I remember is Valhalla. And I haven't heard anything about whatever the new one was, to the point where you could tell me that there wasn't one, and actually they just decided to take a while between making Assassin's Creed games, and I believe you, because I truly have not heard anything of... Oh, Shadows, that was the new one. The only thing I heard about that was because people were mad that there was a black guy in it, which was insane because just it was insane. See if I have enough iron. I haven't heard much about the new Ghost of Tsushima either. Now that I'm thinking about it, I just kind of think a lot of people have stopped talking about big AAA games recently. Or maybe I just don't follow enough people on social media anymore, so my, like, exposure to them has dropped precipitously. Both are possible. I guess I don't hear people talking about Genshin Impact either, so maybe it is just lack of exposure.